Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer, thanks to Rolejandro for this one. Amy plays an Ichor Rat while Nick is at 9 poison counters. Nick responds with Teferi's protection. What happens? Alright, so Amy's rat is going to enter the battlefield, and its triggered ability is going to want to give each player a poison counter. Of course, because of how the stack works, Nick's Teferi's protection will have resolved by then. So let's take a look at this spell and see if it does anything that's going to help him out here. So the exiling Teferi's protection and the phasing out all Nick's permanents, well, that's probably not going to be too interesting here. So let's go on to the next one, starting with the thing that says that his life total cannot change. Now, even though the amount of poison counters you have kind of functions pretty similarly from a game theoretical standpoint as a second life total, as far as the game is concerned, these are completely different game concepts. And so therefore giving somebody a poison counter does not count as trying to change their life totals. So that's not going to be doing anything to stop Nick from getting that poison counter. Protection from everything though, that's pretty impressive, and that one definitely seems like it should help him out. Of course, we also know that protection from everything isn't really as infallible as the English definition of those words might make it seem. For example, you could definitely make Progenitus' controller sacrifice it, or use a zealous persecution against a true name nemesis, and so those sorts of things mean that maybe there might be a way through after all. As is the case with protection when it's on a creature, protection when it's on a player only does some very specific things that are called out in the comprehensive rules that it protects you against. I don't think anyone is going to argue that something is trying to block Nick or attach anything to him, so those ones are out right away. Fortunately, there are a couple of other things protection does do that seem a little bit more relevant here. First of all, Nick cannot be the target of any spells or abilities. Now, that's true, but if we look carefully at Ichor Rat, we'll notice something kind of interesting. It doesn't say the word target anywhere on the card, and that's important because you need to actually say the word target somewhere if you're going to count as targeting something. Because Ichor Rat does not use this word at all, it does not have any targets, and so therefore this aspect of protection is not going to be able to help Nick either. That leaves one other thing that protection does, which seems like it could be very relevant. It prevents all damage that would be dealt to Nick. And again, if you don't see the word damage written on there, then that means that the game isn't going to consider you being damaged by that object either. As we see on Ichor Rat, it does not use the word damage, and so therefore this aspect of protection doesn't do anything that's going to help him. So not only does Nick's life total not changing do absolutely nothing to stop Nick from losing the game, neither does protection from everything. And so, as it happens, Nick is going to get a 10th poison counter, and immediately after that, when the game checks for state-based actions, it's going to see Nick has 10 poison counters and he's going to lose the game. Notice that this is exactly the same situation that would happen if Amy were putting that poison counter onto Nick in another way, for example, with proliferate. The proliferate ability also does not use any of the specific words that protection stops, and also does not count as changing Nick's life total. And so therefore, if Amy were to proliferate, she could also choose to have Nick get an extra poison counter, and he would also lose the game in that circumstance too. Teferi's protection was not very well thought out against the Phyrexians, it seems. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.